Hey everyone, and welcome back to Finborough Engage. Now, so if you watched my last video, you'll be quite aware that the old layout is getting scrapped until I can get the baseboards built for the new one. The baseboards have been ordered from Tim Horn, so hopefully they'll be coming soon. I'll be able to start turning the garage back into me model railway space. In the meantime, though, the Peco 200 competition probably came at quite a good time really for moving house, because it allowed me to crack on with my competition entry board. So I've been obviously working away at that. It's now finished. I've submitted the submitted to Peco, so I'm just waiting to hear back. Yeah, we'll see what happens. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll have already seen this. On Instagram, I've put quite a lot of photos and stuff on Instagram. Now, it's a model of Goathland station. Not any particular time period as such, definitely preserved. But obviously, it's that northeastern region theme that Goathland has. It's not quite bang up to date because there's a few buildings that have been put on since that I haven't gone with. The reason I did Goathland in the first place, and as you'll see in the rest of the video, I actually had a Little End from Hornby, so the same as Hornby's Scaledale in Double O. They used to do Little End in Engage, little resin buildings. I actually had a Goathland style building from them, and a couple of shelters. I couldn't find the rest of them to fit. So in the end, a friend from the club 3D printed them all for me. You'll see more of this in the video coming, but all the buildings, all the footbridges, platforms and everything, they're all 3D printed. It's brilliant. Like, really, the detail is perfect. I've had to paint them up and everything, but that was quite enjoyable really. So yeah, it's all finished. I've been taking loads of photos on it. At the moment, it's all I can run trains on, apart from a little loop of KO track if I wanted to. But it's been nice to just sit and do a bit of weathering, just have a little bit of a play around, I suppose, really, until I can get some big trains when they get all layout. So yeah, we'll crack on with the video, and hopefully before long we'll have an update about the big layout. Fingers crossed, we'll see. Thanks guys, catch you in a bit. So obviously I had to take a visit to Goathland, go and take some photos of my own, just get a bit of inspiration about how I was going to build the board. Now, it actually threw up a couple of surprises. The landscape isn't quite as flat as it looks. Now look at this picture here. There's a big wall and a big drop off into that river. Now, I can't do that on a flat Peco board, and I didn't really want to cut a hole in the board or a ravine, basically. I think it'd just take away the structural integrity of the board too much. So I've had to take a bit of artistic license in that bit there, just by having the river at board level basically. But I don't think it takes away too much from the finished board. And as you can see from this side of the bridge, the water's quite dried up there, so that was when we visited back in May. So that's the sort of feeling I've gone for with the water, which is the biggest compromise I've made really with the whole board. So this was the Little End building that I started with. It was no good. So a friend from the club 3D printed some buildings for us. And there's Tornado doing a bit of a gauging clearance before the platforms were stuck down. 3D prints were really nice. They were from Thingiverse, from a Hogsmeade kit, but it's Goathland, isn't it? So they printed out nicely. That's all I needed. So then we started to paint them. So for the red paint, which is basically northeastern rail red, I couldn't find anything about it online. Now I ended up going for Vallejo or Vallejo, however you pronounce it, burnt red. I just eyeballed it in the end in the shop, and I think it's a pretty good match actually. It looks good on the doors, the pipes, the bridge, and the buildings and stuff. And it also suited the Gresley coach, which you'll see a little bit further on in the build. So I don't think that's quite a bad colour match actually, just for not really knowing what it should have been. The hills at the back are just mount board, stacked on top of each other with paper mache over the top, and then painted brown with a rail match spray that I also used on the track bed. as you can sort of see from these photos here. Just to get that earthy base, basically. That conifer there was a spare one from Finborough that actually quite fits the scene. Like, there actually is a big one in Goathland itself. Then it ended up ballasting just with a grey normal ballast I had spare. And then weathered it quite heavily in places, because where the locals stop the oil drops and everything. So as for the trees, quite a few of them I've actually made from seafoam. I bought a seafoam kit from WWS Scenics. They actually went together really well. I was quite surprised. There's only one or two that I've used that are bought trees, mainly the big conifer and another one. So quite happy with how they turned out actually for my first attempt. So what we're looking at now is all the signage that I've got around the station. This was supplied by Sankey Scenics. It was a bit of a custom request actually. I emailed them because I knew they did Northeastern region signs in 00 gauge, so I asked to do it in N. It turns out that he actually had some Goathland ones in 00, which he's actually kindly printed in N gauge instead, and they're really nice quality. So they're all over the layout. You'll see them quite a lot if you keep your eyes peeled for them. I had some real ground up coal underneath the coal drops, and the Gresley BG coach is a kit from the Engage Society, tied down quite well nicely in that bit there. That coach isn't actually glued down. I've just tied it down with some bit of copper wire because I wanted it to be removable really for any future use. So you're about to see the water in the river. This was done by a base PVA, which didn't really quite dry very well, followed up by another layer of Peco static grass basing glue, which actually worked really well. And then I weathered it, you might see it further on, with a thin layer of Agrax Earthshade, which I've used a lot on this actually. It's really good paint. That turned out quite well. I'm quite happy with that. Now obviously Goathland being a part of a popular heritage railway tends to be quite busy. It's not that often it's quiet unless you go out of season. So I wanted to model it with enough people without looking too overcrowded and taken away from the rest of the model. So I've just used a couple of sort of touristy looking figures and a couple of period type figures, like the station master type, you know, with the suit jackets and stuff, and the hand lamps, and also like an engineer type near the signal box and stuff. So, in answer to that last bit there, no, it's not finished yet. For the purposes of the competition, it's finished. However, I am considering getting some more boards built and extending it. I've left it open. I can do it. So I'll just swap my camera around. So I'll just try to give you a bit more of a bird's eye view. So these two rails here aren't actually parallel. The idea is that off scene there'll be a point here. These two are parallel. Goathland's not actually straight in real life. Mine is, just because it's on a Peco board. It was going to be too hard work to try and curve it. So what I'm going to be planning on doing is, excuse the mess there, going off this way, two main lines, round this way. Now over here there should be a bridge that goes over the river. However, I've cut the river off there, so the river's in real life the river doesn't go that way. It comes round the back of these trees here, comes round here and through this way. Obviously I won't be able to model that. In theory I could put it in, maybe I might do eventually, but there's a road bridge that also comes over here. Now my intention is model the track going off this way, having the road bridge going over, which would end up being the back scene, and that will lead into a fiddle yard round the back, go around the other side, and then this part here in actual Goathland, if I can find a picture I'll upload it now, leads into a cutting. Now it's quite a steep cutting and it's full of trees and forests, obviously because what you get in the forest, isn't it, trees? So that's where this sort of bit starts here. There's a little mill here, like it's hidden, and this bit all sort of becomes moorland up to a certain height. So what I'll probably do is model that as a continuation. It'll be in a cutting round the corner, the forest on that side and the moorland on this side. It won't be an awful lot of moorland, but it'll be just enough that it gives you the right impression. And the idea is that'll be no more than a couple of foot of an addition, and the fiddle yard will all be effectively on the same size as the Peco board. So watch this space, that might happen. It might not, but we'll see. It's a plan, so yeah. In the meantime, I'll just give you a little video overview of the layout. And if there's anything you want to see any more of, let me know, and I can always put it on my Instagram or my Facebook page, or I can do another little YouTube shorts video or something.